The Chancellor, Philip Hammond, told Sky News the UK will be worse off in every Brexit scenario. So is he right? Let's get the thoughts of Richard Tice, businessman and co-chair of Leave Means Leave. Hello to you, Mr. Tice. So we're going to be poorer no matter what, but the government's deal is the best on the table.
Of course we're not. I mean, let's be clear, the Treasury has a woeful track record of forecasting. They were part of Project Fear during the referendum that said there was going to be an immediate recession, 500,000 jobs would go, property prices would collapse. They were wrong on their forecasts just a year out. So no one should pay any attention to their forecasts of 10 to 15 years down the track. The truth is, with their economic model, garbage in equals garbage out. Much better to listen to the economists like the Economists for Free Trade, who actually predict that going to World Trade Organization rules, we would have a 7% increase in GDP over just 10 years. Those are the sort of positive forecasts based on sensible assumptions that actually we believe will be borne out.
I mean, I suppose we can all pick and choose the forecasts that suit our argument, can't I? You're critical of the Treasury, and you're right in saying that forecasts haven't proved to be accurate in the past. But this isn't just the Treasury, is it? This is a cross-section of figures compiled by the Treasury, the Foreign Office, the Brexit Department, the Departments for Business and International Trade. Are they all wrong?
Yes, I'm afraid they are, because they all use the same basic model. And let's remember, this is all part of a scaremongering process that is designed basically to encourage MPs to vote for this deal, whereas actually MPs need to have the courage of their convictions to realise that this deal is the worst of all worlds that the Prime Minister and the Cabinet are putting forward, and that we would be much better, as we all know in business, no deal is always better than a bad deal. Unfortunately, the government's got to the position where basically any deal, including a bad deal, is better than no deal. And everybody knows in their gut, their common sense, that that is wrong.
Well, you say everybody knows, but let's just look at what the CBI, chief economist from the CBI representing businesses, has said, is that the longer a no-deal scenario remains possible, the more corrosive the impact on jobs and investment plans. The Federation of Small Businesses has also said in the last few hours, put simply, a chaotic no-deal Brexit will damage jobs, cut growth and hurt the economy. Isn't it time that we have to face the facts? There isn't going to be a perfect deal. Not everyone's going to be happy. This is the best that we're going to get, and it's time to get on with it.
It's extraordinary that these business lobby groups accept that a bad deal is better than no deal. And I go back to the CBI's track record. They rejected the Thatcher reforms of the 80s. They wanted us to stay in the ERM in the early 90s. They said if we didn't join the euro, it would be a disaster in the late 90s. And then they were part of Project Fear in 2016. It's really important that viewers look at the track record of the people making these forecasts. And sadly, because it's really important, the track record of these people is woeful and they should be ignored.
So you're doubting what you're saying, but then it could be argued that let's look at the track record of the Brexit campaign. There were figures being bandied around during that campaign, 350 million, the famous one, of course, and that's turned out not to be true.
Well, actually, it hasn't. If we carry out a sensible arrangement, if we go to World Trade Organization rules, if we have a really positive growth agenda, cutting corporation tax, cutting VAT, actually we could increase above that number. The Prime Minister has already said she'll be, for example, investing more than £350 million into the NHS. So no, I don't accept that at all. If we do it properly, it's like anything in life. If a job's worth doing, do it properly. And if we do Brexit properly, we'll exceed that number, not fall below it.
More figures out later on today from the Bank of England. What are you expecting from them?
I think this will just be a continuation of the rather gloomy approach that various quangos and government departments and lobby groups on behalf of the multinationals, the vested interests, they've all got a sort of similar approach to this. Let's scare people, let's force people into accepting this deal that basically they admit is a really bad deal. Let's go back to the CBI. In their own internal memos, they said that this was a bad deal, but we ought to support the government. These people need to have the courage to stand up and say it's a bad deal. Bad deal's always worse than no deal. Let's go to no deal. Let's have a pro-growth economic agenda, and we can trade really successfully around the rest of the world.
So you don't accept that the chaos that a no deal will cause? Look at the figures for the automotive industry, the pharmaceutical industry, for example, a 20% reduction in growth. You're saying it's fine, a no deal is worth it?
We don't accept this scaremongering at all. This is, I repeat, the vested interests, the multinationals who don't want anything to change. They want a continuation of cheap, low-skilled immigration, so the rich get richer and the poor stay poor. You know, the truth is, these people, they've made all these threats before, and every single time they're wrong. Let's remember, Nissan, they said in the late 1990s, if we didn't join the euro, they'd have to leave the UK. They were wrong then, they're wrong now, and they will continue to be wrong tomorrow.
OK, Richard Tice, thanks very much indeed. Not